Welcome everybody. My name is Scott Lenn and I'm the chairman of Southport's Forestry Committee. I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the committee, the Department of Tourism, and the City of Southport to welcome you to our 2021 virtual Arbor Day celebration. You know, Southport, anybody that's ever been here knows that there's three things that Southport's known for. We're known for our beautiful waterfront, we're known for the stately old homes that are in the downtown area, and then thirdly for the shade and the wonderful urban canopy that we have with these lovely live oaks. Today, Arbor Day, is the one day set aside each year that we celebrate those trees. So what is Arbor Day? Arbor Day was started back in 1872 by a gentleman by the name of J. Sterling Morton from the state of Nebraska. He was an agriculturalist and newspaper man who early recognized that the denudation of trees across the United States as the move westward was not a good thing. So he lobbied the legislature in Nebraska for a day to set aside to plant trees and to appreciate the ones that still existed. And that exactly happened in 1872. The first official Arbor Day ceremony was held in the United States in Nebraska City, Nebraska. All across the state, over 1 million trees were planted that day. And over the years, other states followed suit. By 1920, every state in the nation had their own Arbor Day celebration. Today, in 2021, not only is Arbor Day celebrated in every state in the United States, but municipalities and townships all across the country, as well as probably 30 or 40 countries around the world. So today, I'd like to welcome you again to our virtual celebration, given the times that we're in right now. And I would like to take this opportunity to turn it over to some of my colleagues on the committee who are going to explain a little bit to you about what the City of Southport and the city's Forestry Committee does to protect the trees and the urban forest that we have here in this beautiful town.
Hello, my name is Harry Singley. I've been a member of the Forestry Committee for 4 years now. In addition to planting and pruning oak trees, we also do other functions in Southport. We work with the city to help identify potential problems in existing trees and help create solutions. We're also available to homeowners to answer questions about problems that they may have in the trees in their yard. Recently, we worked with the Beautification Committee to provide 2 classes on pruning of oak trees. At the request of the Historic Society, we worked with the Beautification Committee to prune a number of large azaleas in the old burial grounds. Forestry Committee meets the second Tuesday of every month at 5 o'clock. It's an open meeting and anyone with interest is welcome to attend. Please be sure to visit our website on the Southport homepage. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Roxy Smith. I'm the newest member of the Forestry Committee. When I first joined the committee, people asked me what it did, and I didn't have a really good answer then. I do now, however. The purpose I've determined for the Forestry Committee is to educate. Education in the broadest sense of the word. It educates a wide range of audiences for a variety of purposes and using a number of different tools. The first group that it educates is the Board of Alderpersons. One way in which the expertise of the Forestry Committee gets carried to the Board of Alderpersons is through the liaisons who attend the meetings and then carry back the lessons that they've learned during the meeting. The second group that the Forestry Committee educates is the city staff. City staff are responsible for the trees that are in the parks and in the street setbacks. They rely on the expertise of the Forestry Committee, which often works alongside them, to handle the care and preservation of the trees that are under their responsibility. A third group are the other entities that are associated with the city, for example, the Beautification Committee. The most important audience for the Forestry Committee, of course, is the wider general public. They get the message out to that group through the newsletter that the city puts out each month. They have photos that are submitted to the newspaper and articles that go into the Southport pilot. This Arbor Day celebration is another way in which the Forestry Committee educates the wider public. Individuals can also call on the members of the Forestry Committee for advice and consultation around the care and preservation of trees on their private property. Southport is a community that values its trees and its tree canopy, and the Forestry Committee is the mechanism for helping them work to preserve that canopy. So I encourage all of you to reach out and take advantage of the expertise of the Forestry Committee. They're here to help, quote, educate.
So one of the big things that the City of Southport and the Forestry Committee work collaboratively on every year is to attain our Tree City USA designation. Tree City USA is an award that's presented to municipalities on a yearly basis based on 4 factors, and the City of Southport has to reapply for it each and every year. We have been a Tree City USA for 17 of the last years, and considering that the committee has only been in existence for 20, I think that's a pretty good record. There's 4 standards that we need to submit every year to show that we're caring for the trees in our urban landscape. Number 1, we have to have a committee or a tree board that's focused specifically on the urban forests that we have here in town. Secondly, we have to have a protective tree ordinance. We passed our first comprehensive protective ordinance back in August of 2018, and it was recently updated in the fall of 2020 through the whole update of the UDO that the city went through. The third thing that we have to do, the city has to commit to spending at least $2 per capita on tree care. Now here in Southport, that's not a problem because most of the tree care that we do is cleaning up debris after storms. So it's easy for us to do that, but it's something that we consistently do. And the final thing that we have to do is hold an Arbor Day celebration every year. And this year, because of the pandemic, you're looking at it on a screen and it's virtual, and we're hoping that we'll be able to get together next year in person to celebrate again.
Hi, I'm Thomas Lloyd, and I am the city planner of the City of Southport and also the staff liaison to the Forestry Committee. As a Tree City USA designated by the Arbor Day Foundation, we're required to have a tree ordinance and a tree care ordinance. The City of Southport first passed a tree care ordinance and a tree ordinance in its UDO in 2018. Recently, we have revised our tree ordinance in September of 2020. And there are probably more revisions to come as well because the UDO is a living document. As such, we regulate trees in development and we protect certain trees during the development process as well as just in general. Trees that we regulate are trees over 8 inches, hardwoods that are over 8 inches diameter at breast height within any setback, and pines or conifers that are over 12 inches in any setback. We also regulate specimen trees, which are defined as trees over 30 inches anywhere on the property.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Davis. I'm an elected member of the Board of Aldermen and the Alderman's liaison to the Forestry Committee. So I'm here to tell you about the Alderman's connection to the Forestry Committee. First of all, though, you might wonder why it's called the Forestry Committee, since Smokey Bear doesn't live here. This is a town, but all you have to do is look up and look around. I mean, look at this tree. And it's just one of many magnificent trees that Southport has. Do you know that some of the trees were born long before the United States was born. Even before the Declaration of Independence was signed, some of these trees were standing tall and proud. And the city of Southport wants to help them stay that way. We do this several ways. For starters, we appoint the Forestry Committee. The members of the committee are Southport residents who not only love trees, but who are willing to educate themselves and the community about trees and to help keep them alive and thriving. Now, of course, at times, unfortunately, storms will damage and sometimes even destroy the trees. And so, if a tree can't be saved, the committee replaces it with a young, healthy tree. And the Board of Aldermen's role in that is to okay the funds to pay for the new trees and to cover the cost of getting them planted. Taking it a step further, the aldermen have passed a very strong tree protection ordinance, and we backed it up just recently with an updated UDO, that's a Unified Development Ordinance, that extends protection to all the trees in the city, not just the ones on city land. In simple terms, this means that developers and builders cannot come into Southport and just clear cut, leaving nothing but scorched earth. Nope, aldermen absolutely will not okay a building plan unless every possible tree that can be saved is saved. But if trees have to come down, and realistically, sometimes construction requires it, if they do come down, the builders have to replace it. And they can't just stick a toothpick in the ground and call it good. Nope, they have to put in a healthy, good-sized tree. I hope you can see from this that the City of Southport, the Board of Aldermen, and the Forestry Committee are very, very serious about protecting the trees that we do have, and about planting even more. In the last 15 years, the Forestry Committee has planted over 320 trees. Now, you know, there's an old saying that I think sums up the city's and the Forestry Committee's commitment. And it goes like this. We sit in the shade of trees that our grandparents planted. Our grandchildren will sit in the shade of trees that we planted. Thank you, and happy Arbor Day. Enjoy the shade.
Hello, my name is Fred Fiss. I'm a member of the Southport Forestry Committee. I'd like to talk about preserving our existing tree canopy. It is our job as citizens to protect the trees we have. As you know, we have a city tree ordinance now, and this is a step to preserve our existing tree canopy. I'm a building contractor. I know very well about the tree ordinance. As a building contractor, I have the responsibility to protect the trees at my job sites. This is spelled out in the city ordinance. It's okay to trim branches in your own yard, but to cut down a tree in your own yard, you have to have a tree removal permit. You cannot cut any trees on the city right-of-way. Please think before cutting down any trees in our town. Before a cut takes place, it would be appreciated by the Southport Forestry Committee that a property owner check in with the city planner, that's Thomas Lloyd, at the Southport City Hall. We all take pride in the beautiful ancient tree canopy that graces our town. Now, I'd like to invite anybody out there that would like to be part of the Forestry Committee. There are going to be some vacancies, so please contact City Hall about filling out an application for one of those positions. Thank you very much.
Hi, it's Thomas again, and this time I will be talking about the city's community forestry budget. As a member of a Tree City USA community, we are obligated to spend at least $2 per capita on our trees, and that can go from anything from preserving our trees through tree trimming, and it can also go into tree planting. The city of Southport spends $25,000 on tree trimming alone, and we also use funds in order to plant new trees, because that's all part of it, is planting new trees for future community to enjoy and for future generations to enjoy. And as part of that, we do this through donations that are supplemented with our normal tree planting budget. And these donations come from private citizens, they come from community organizations, as well as private foundations. And just to give you an example of what these funds have been used for in the past, and an organization that has helped us in the past, a great example of that is the Neisler Family Foundation. And the Neisler Family Foundation was affiliated with the late forestry emeritus member, Betty Timberlake. I'm sure a lot of you are pretty familiar with her. And with that, with their funding over the past 20 years, the city of Southport has been able to plant over 400 live oak trees. And we are very thankful for that, and we are very thankful for the Neisler Family Foundation and them being willing to continue to plant trees and fund those trees in Miss Betty's memory. And anybody is able to do that, so if anyone is interested as a private citizen in donating to our forestry fund for new trees, we would certainly be more than happy to take that donation so that we can keep planting our urban forestry and keep, you know, the community as we love it with plenty of tree canopy.
Hello, I'm Jean with the Forestry Committee here in Southport, and I'm standing under the live oak tree in my backyard. It is one of the main reasons I joined the Forestry Committee, and that is to help preserve and replenish these beautiful trees. They are native to our area in Southport, and that's why we've chosen these, because they will withstand the elements better. They need to be replaced from time to time as they get much older and they could become diseased or damaged in some manner. So what we do is we make a list of about 10 trees per year. That's our goal, is 10 trees per year. And once we've made the list, we go to the nursery. We pick out trees that are usually 2 to 4 inches in caliper or diameter. Those trees are then dug and spaded and put on a flatbed truck, where they are then delivered to the location where they're going to be planted. Once they're planted, we keep an eye on them and water them about once a week during the hot summers that we have here. These trees will grow 2 to 2.5 feet per year, reaching a total height of approximately 60 to 80 feet and a width or span of about 60 to 100 feet. So they make a beautiful shade tree. So this is the reason why the Southport Forestry Committee is committed to this. It is part of our responsibility as a community to take care and nourish and love these beautiful living things. Thank you.
Well, we're coming to a close of our celebration today, and I'd like to thank you again on behalf of the Forestry Committee, the Department of Tourism, and the city for attending with us in this virtual celebration. Again, as I said before, hopefully next year we'll be able to meet again in person and have a proper Arbor Day celebration in Southport. What I'd like for you to do over the next year is remember that you don't have to celebrate trees just one time a year. As you walk around town, take the time to look up and appreciate the shade that this live oak canopy provides us here in town, which is probably the most valuable asset that Southport has in the summer. So I'd like to wrap it up here. Thank you again for attending, and I'd like to turn it over to our mayor, Dr. Joe Pat Hayden, to read the official city proclamation for Arbor Day. Thanks again for attending.
The history of Arbor Day is in part for me, a reminder of the importance of journalism in our lives. A newspaper editor in Nebraska, Julius Sterling Morton, noting the lack of trees in the territory, advocated for the planting of trees by individuals and civic groups. Mr. Morton, the editor of the first newspaper in Nebraska, the Nebraska City News, moved to Nebraska City with his wife Caroline in 1854 and purchased 160 acres of land, which was described as primarily a flat stretch of desolate plain. The couple planted many trees and shrubs on their land, and he used the newspaper to discuss his knowledge of trees and the ecological importance of trees in Nebraska, which entered statehood in 1867. His message resonated with citizens of the state, and tree plantings became more prevalent. Mr. Morton continued to spread his message of the value of trees as Secretary of the Nebraska Territory, appointed by President James Buchanan in 1858. On January 4th, 1872, Mr. Morton proposed a tree planting holiday to be called Arbor Day at a meeting of the State Board of Agriculture. The celebration date was set for April 10th, 1872. There were estimates that more than 1 million trees were planted in Nebraska on the first Arbor Day. National Arbor Day is celebrated in all 50 states on the last Friday in April. Southport is proud of its citizens, its civic groups who participate, and I'm grateful to the city's Forestry Committee who meet every month and who gather together each year to celebrate trees. In particular, our beautiful and majestic live oaks, so iconic to Southport, as we commemorate, preserve, and protect our trees, one of our many national treasures. Because of these collaborative efforts, the Arbor Day Foundation has named Southport a 2020 Tree City, USA. And now I would like to read the press release from the Arbor Day Foundation. Arbor Day Foundation names Southport Tree City, USA. Lincoln, Nebraska, February 1st, 2021. Southport, North Carolina was named the 2020 Tree City, USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in honor of its commitment to effective urban forest management. Southport achieved Tree City USA recognition by meeting the program's 4 requirements: a tree board or department, a tree care ordinance, an annual community forestry budget of at least $2 per capita, and an Arbor Day observance and proclamation. Tree City USA communities see the impact an urban forest has in a community firsthand, said Dan Lamb, president of the Arbor Day Foundation. And I quote, "The trees being planted and cared for by Southport are ensuring that generations to come will enjoy to a better quality of life." Additionally, participation in this program brings residents together and creates a sense of civic pride, whether it's through volunteer engagement or public education. End of quote. If ever there was a time for trees, now is that time. Communities worldwide are facing issues with air quality, water resources, personal health and well-being, energy use, and protection from extreme heat and flooding. The Arbor Day Foundation recently launched the Time for Trees initiative to address these issues with unprecedented goals of planting 1 million trees in forests and communities and inspiring 5 million tree planters by 2022. With Tree City USA recognition, Southport has demonstrated a commitment to effective urban forest management and doing its part to help address these challenges for Southport residents now and in the future.
Hello again. I'd like to leave you with some parting words of inspiration, perhaps food for thought. It's a poem by Joyce Kilmer. Joyce Kilmer is a famous poet that died during World War I in active duty. He now has a national park named after him Joyce-Kilmer National Forest. It's located in western North Carolina. You may have heard of it. I encourage you to visit there. It's just absolutely beautiful. And now the poem that he wrote, called Trees. I think I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with the rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Happy Arbor Day.